Hello. Today I want to give you a sneaky peek into some work in progress. I'm currently working on 9 acrylic paintings on wood panels. So I just thought I would show you those paintings, talk about how I prepare a panel, and maybe also show you inside my sketchbooks and just talk about where I found the inspiration for these paintings. So these are painted on birch wooden cradled panels. These two at the back, two bigger ones, are at an earlier stage, and then these two are slightly more developed. So they start off a bit like this, and then I'm moving them towards more finished and resolved paintings. So what I like to do is start with an underpainting. So this is what I call an underpainting, and all of these blobs and splodges and marks won't necessarily show through. Not all of them, but some of them will. So what I like with acrylic painting is to build up a really interesting surface that has little areas of delight, little areas of surprise, little painterly passages which are interesting. I want my paintings to have a kind of history of paint and to feel that there are little things peeping through from underneath. And so I like that element of kind of building up different layers of complexity. These are moving more towards being finished but aren't quite finished, and what I like is the little kind of history that is coming through the paintings. Little pieces of this sort of underpainting are showing in the more final painting, and I enjoy that sort of little clues and whispers and little elements of surprise and intrigue, and I think it helps to make my paintings feel more interesting, complex, and reward a closer look. So there's sort of more to see hidden beneath these paintings. That's the theory anyway. And they start like this. The panels that I use are birch wood panels. They are unprepared, so to be able to paint on them you need to do some prep basically. Because they're unprepared, it's bare wood, they need to have a sealing coat, so a coat that seals the wood. So I tend to use a gloss medium for that. So I'll paint a fine layer of gloss medium so that the wood is sealed, and this really prevents the sap coming through the painting. So we're painting on wood, so you don't want the sap from the wood to come through, so it needs to be sealed. And then I will do a couple of layers of gesso, so just a white gesso, to really make it a nice surface to paint on. So that covers up the colour of the wood and just is a nice smooth surface to paint on. And they're called cradled panels because they have this cradle at the back, this sort of frame or bar at the back. And I enjoy working on them because they can take quite a lot of scratching and scraping, and they're very robust but also very lightweight. This is from a brand called Sea White of Brighton, which is a local brand to me. I'm sure you can buy lots of different other brands in different places. All 9 paintings have started in this similar way. I prepared all of the panels with the sealer and gesso, and then I painted each of the panels with a coloured ground or background. And I quite often do this as a way to just unify the painting. You can see little elements of the original colour peeping through. This was a sort of purpley colour. This is a yellow. So I tend to start all the paintings and get them to all about this stage. And that's when I have to then start thinking about what are the paintings going to be. So for me, paintings tend to go through different stages and require different things at different times. So when I'm starting a painting, it's all about possibility and just relishing the paint. At this stage, I'm not planning or being strategic. I'm really just playing with paint. I'm enjoying the properties of paint. I'm putting some paint onto a surface and I'm enjoying the colour interactions and looking for what marks I can make and what lines I can create and what interesting rich surface I can develop. And when all of the paintings are at about this stage, that's when I have to start then making some more informed decisions. So at the beginning it's all about possibility and play and really slapping on some paint, because this is an underpainting and I know that only small elements of this are going to show through. So there's no pressure at this stage. It's all exciting and playful. And then when I get to about this stage in a painting, that's when I have to kind of start, I think, being more thoughtful and make more decisions. And this is when I get my sketchbooks and drawings out. So when I get all 9 paintings to about this stage, there's some paint on each of the surfaces. I'm then looking through my sketchbooks with an inquisitive eye. I am looking through my drawings and making decisions. My sketchbooks and drawings are such a valuable resource when I come to painting. I really rely on them heavily. They're like a filing cabinet of ideas, and I don't necessarily take one drawing and completely copy it onto a painting, but I'm using drawings, I'm using the things in my sketchbook to help inform my paintings. So here I've drawn a candlestick and a jug, and here is a candlestick and a jug on this painting, which isn't finished, but you can see where some of my explorations in a drawing have translated into a painting. In this sketchbook here, I've explored this kind of pattern, and here it shows up on this painting. Throughout many of my sketchbooks, these sorts of stripy pyramids appear. They're everywhere. And that is here in this painting. So I'm searching through my sketchbooks. They're like a resource for me. It's like where I'm gathered my ideas together and then I can use them when it comes to painting. This page here was the sort of starting point, springboard for this painting. So I'm taking lots of different sketchbooks, lots of different pages, ideas, and I'm really using them to help be the catalyst, the doorway, the entry point to help me develop compositions. And I think for me the most difficult part of a painting is that middle bit. At the beginning it's all free and easy and I'm doing these underpaintings and it's all great fun, and then it becomes a lot harder and it feels a lot more of a struggle sometimes to just get the painting where I want it to be in terms of composition. And then this painting is nearly finished, but it's not finished. In these final stages of a painting, I'm really wanting to finesse and tighten. So I'm looking for things that are irritating me. There's a little blue dot here that's irritating me on that bright pink. There are some edges that I think I'd like to define. I might add in a little bit more detail. So I tend to start bold, then try and kind of come up with a composition, and then as I get further and further along in the painting, I'm wanting to finesse it and make smaller and smaller tweaks and changes. So this painting, I'll make lots of small changes. So I might be just tightening up a edge, going over something to make something more opaque, just bringing it so it feels like a finished painting. And then I will leave them all for a week or two and come back to them and then re-look at them with a more objective eye. I find that if I've just painted something, I find it hard to kind of see what needs changing, what needs editing. and sometimes just a little bit of time and space can give me a clearer idea of what needs doing to a painting. So I tend to leave them for a little while, and then I need to varnish them just to protect the paint. And I haven't yet decided on the kind of varnish I'm going to use. I might use a satin varnish or a matte varnish. So there are still decisions to be made, but I just wanted to share these paintings as they're becoming what they're going to become, in case it's helpful for your own art making.